Toyota is localizing the production of an all-electric Highlander. That decision and the supply chain they're building around it is redefining the company's entire EV strategy. What was once a cautious, multi-pathway approach is now an aggressive play for the heart of the US market.
So, let's start with the headline. One of America's best-selling family SUVs is going all-electric. Now, this isn't some niche model or a compliance car. We're talking about a core high-volume nameplate. That choice alone signals a much more aggressive phase for Toyota. But honestly, the vehicle itself, it's almost secondary to the industrial strategy that it represents. Because this is the real story. This is the capital expenditure behind the car. This single number, the investment in just one US battery plant, represents a fundamental pivot. It's a move that directly contradicts years of corporate doctrine that was designed to hedge against this exact kind of all-in bet.
This is Auto Read. We decode the machines and the markets that move the world.
You see, the first move in this new strategy wasn't a factory blueprint. It was a marketing decision. And choosing the Highlander name is a calculated assault on the very center of the US auto market.
Think about it. Toyota isn't wasting time creating a new EV sub-brand that needs to build trust from scratch. Nope, they're leveraging decades of brand equity. By electrifying a mainstream three-row SUV, they're aiming to bypass the early adopters and go straight for the high-volume family segment. This move puts a direct competitor squarely in the path of the Kia EV9 and the upcoming Hyundai Ioniq 9. This isn't about testing the waters. This is an attempt to conquer territory.
To really get the scale of this pivot, you have to understand the strategy it's replacing. For years, Toyota's public stance was defined by its famous multi-pathway approach. It was caution and incremental improvement, Kaizen, embodied in a corporate strategy.
And this is what that looked like. A diversified portfolio. Hybrids, plug-ins, hydrogen, and battery electrics all coexisting. This was their hedge against uncertainty. It was designed specifically to avoid massive capital commitments to any single technology with an unknown future. It was a strategy defined by flexibility and, let's be honest, risk aversion.
Well, the electric Highlander project just inverts that entire logic. We're seeing a shift from Kaizen, or continuous improvement, to Kaikaku, radical change. At least within its US operations. The old strategy depended on global sourcing and having a mix of powertrains. This new strategy for this core product, it's all about localized US production and a singular focus on BEV. It swaps cautious spending for aggressive investment. They're no longer just hedging against BEV adoption, they're trying to force it.
The best analogy here actually comes from the semiconductor industry. What Toyota is doing is like a fabless chip designer like NVIDIA, which relies on partners like TSMC suddenly deciding to spend billions to build its own chip fabrication plants. It is a massive, capital-intensive power play, and it's all designed to control the production stack, secure the supply chain, and dictate your own terms. And this isn't just some theory on a PowerPoint slide. The physical evidence is being built right now on American soil. This commitment is materializing as a new, localized manufacturing footprint, and it's designed for one purpose: build this vehicle and its most critical parts right here in the United States.
According to Car and Driver, the first piece of evidence is the assembly location. By moving production of its first mainstream BEV to Kentucky, Toyota is trying to insulate the vehicle from any future geopolitical trade drama and shipping volatility. Onshoring the final assembly gives you cost stability and predictable logistics. It de-risks the whole operation from the kind of supply chain chaos that's plagued the industry, and it responds directly to the growing pressure for manufacturing localization. But the most critical component, of course, is the battery. It's the highest value and most supply-constrained part of any BEV. And here, Toyota's own Form 20F filing confirms a massive investment in a dedicated US battery plant. This right here, this is the heart of their vertical integration strategy.
Let's be clear, controlling your battery production is absolutely non-negotiable if you want to be a mass-market BEV player. This nearly $14 billion investment is a direct attempt to solve the single greatest choke point in the entire EV supply chain before it can cripple their most important new product.
The final piece of evidence is a technical one. As reported by EV.com, Toyota is adopting the NACS port. This signals a clear commitment to the dominant charging infrastructure here in the US.
Now, this is not a minor detail. Choosing NACS over other standards, it removes a huge barrier to entry for mainstream buyers who are worried about charging. It signals that the Highlander EV is designed not just for compliance, but to compete directly for the heart of the American market on an equal footing.
So everything we've talked about, the vehicle, the onshoring, the entire strategic pivot, it all depends on one single massive industrial project. The success of that battery plant in North Carolina, well, that's the single point of failure for this entire plan.
The scale, which is detailed in Toyota's own financial filings, is just immense. This is not a pilot program. We're talking about a $13.9 billion investment targeting 10 production lines. The goal is a capacity of over 30 gigawatt hours annually. That's enough to support hundreds of thousands of vehicles. This plant is the industrial engine of Toyota's entire US EV strategy.
And that brings us to the critical forecast. All other factors are secondary. The ultimate success or failure of Toyota's American BEV ambitions will not be decided in a design studio or a marketing meeting. It will be determined by the execution and the operational ramp-up of this one single facility in Liberty, North Carolina.
So, with this vertically integrated production base taking shape, the question shifts. How will Toyota leverage it against the established EV players already in the market?
Well, on paper, the specs are aggressively competitive, but they aren't revolutionary. With an estimated starting price around $54,000 and a max range of 320 miles, it's positioned to just slightly undercut its main Korean rivals. But, crucially, just like its competitors, its US assembly and battery sourcing should make it eligible for any available federal tax credits, which neutralizes a key advantage others might have had.
So the end game here is pretty clear. Toyota's play is not to win on some headline-grabbing range figure or bleeding-edge tech. The bet is that for the mainstream American family, Toyota's reputation for quality and reliability is the real decisive advantage. The strategy is to leverage that trust and then out-manufacture the competition on cost and scale, all enabled by this new, vertically integrated US production footprint.
And this leads us to the fundamental question. Is this massive, concentrated capital bet on US vertical integration a masterstroke that will secure Toyota's long-term dominance? Or is it a high-risk, all-in gamble that sacrifices the very flexibility of the multi-pathway strategy that has served them so well for so long, and maybe, just maybe, too soon?
For data-driven automotive analysis, support our work by subscribing to AutoRead. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next breakdown.